It's been a very interesting past couple of weeks seeing all the Ronda Rousey podcast clips coming out, all the videos being made about her, about how delusional she is, how she's blaming every possible thing she can other than herself from her losses, whether it be that she's gotten too many concussions and that her mouth guard wasn't right and she fell down the stairs. You know, a lot of people, rightfully so, are making fun of her. I mean, yeah, this behavior, it's delusional, right? I mean, that's the only way you could describe it. But, you know, I think the thing a lot of people are forgetting about Ronda Rousey is that she's a hustler. At heart, that's what she is. She is hustling. She knows she got embarrassed against Holm and Amanda Nunes. It doesn't matter what the circumstances are. You go from winning 15 fights in a row, dominating everybody extremely convincingly, to then having 2 fights in a row where you have absolutely zero success and got viciously knocked out in both. She's working with what she's got. And now maybe she's not doing a very good job with it. But again, let me remind you who we're talking about here. Now, it's been known for a long time, as revealed by Josh Thompson, that Dana White sleeps with fighters' wives if they refuse a pay cut or a contract, or basically for any reason he sees fit. And it's also been known for a very long time that Ronda Rousey 100% allegedly banged Dana White. Now look, I don't trust Brendan Schaub as far as I can throw the guy, which isn't very far. But remember, when he got into that little Instagram scuffle with Dana White, they were going back and forth pretty consistently until Brendan Schaub brought up the fact that they're Eskimo brothers, and then Dana White backed off. And let's not forget when Dana White came out and publicly said that women will never fight in the UFC, and then a year later, Ronda Rousey debuted. Clearly, something happened in between that time, because Ronda wasn't even a star yet. She wasn't a star until she got to the UFC. But what's my point with all this? This is how good Ronda is at hustling. Dana White is still in love with her. According to her, they're still best friends. Dana has never had anything bad to say about her. Look, we all know how Dana White feels about women, but Ronda Rousey got under his skin somehow. But to me, here's the sad thing about Ronda Rousey's career, right? She actually had the potential to truly be the greatest women's fighter ever. I mean, she could have beaten Amanda Nunes. She could have beaten Holm. And she could have beaten them fairly easily. In some of Ronda's podcast clips recently, she's made a point that she is no longer friends with Joe Rogan because of how he was her biggest fan, and then after she lost, he turned on her, which was just him saying that he overhyped her skills. But I think it's more than that. He was just completely wrong about her skills. Like he just did not understand what her skills were. I mean, listen to what he said during her second fight with Miesha Tate.
Most certainly. Look, Ronda Rousey is smart. You know, she's nasty, but she's smart. She's going to work on every single aspect of her game. She wants to be champion for a long time. She's not going to rely on one weapon.
Oh, she's not going to rely on one skill, is she? Well, let's go ahead and look at her record real quick. Yeah, this is her relying on one skill. Look, nobody is going to deny the fact that Ronda Rousey's judo and her armbars were insane. I genuinely think her armbar technique was the best the UFC has ever seen, period. But at the end of the day, in a sport like MMA, a fundamental issue with judo is it can be really difficult to impose it on your opponent if they just try to avoid the clinch at all costs. Now, Miesha Tate was letting Ronda impose her judo because she kept trying to take Ronda down, which was just a terrible idea. And every other opponent Ronda faced was horrible. But I just do not understand, why did Ronda not learn how to wrestle? I'm telling you, for how good Holm and Amanda Nunes are, if Ronda were to get them into the positions she's good at, she's going to have a massive advantage. But how can you expect to do that purely with judo? If Ronda had developed really good single and double legs, she would have been almost unbeatable. Imagine her shooting a double leg on you, you defend it, but because she used the takedown to close the distance, you're now clinched up, and then she throws you, and now you're in an armbar. That would have been so difficult to deal with. But because she didn't have those skills, what she relied on to close the distance was striking. And look, you guys do not need me to tell you that Edmond Tarverdyan was about as useful as Joshua Fabia in terms of furthering Ronda's career. Like, everybody already knows that. But here's the thing. Edmond Tarverdyan was an actual Muay Thai fighter. So he, at the very least, had to have actually been trained somewhat good, right? But what the fuck is this shit? I mean, first of all, why the hell is he wearing jeans while he's doing the pad work? Who does that? And second off, look what he's having her do. What is this? She throws a little combination, then does a little hop step to the right, and then doesn't follow it up with anything. If there was one thing Ronda really needed to aid in her striking, it was the ability to land a short combination and then get out of range, right? That's a good drill. But what is this? She's building the muscle memory to run right into somebody's hook after she's done throwing. Edmond did a fine job at making Ronda's striking appear like it's a lot better than it is. She's throwing these combinations very fast. The technique itself isn't horrible. But being able to do that is not what makes somebody a good striker. Being a good striker means you have really good timing. You have really good footwork. You can set your shots up well. You see your opponent's shots coming. And you look at Ronda's fight against Holm, and oh my God, she just got absolutely eaten alive. Holly was staying on the outside, using her footwork to move side to side to never get cornered in. She would blitz in with a combination, cut an angle, then get out of range again. And Ronda's only answer to all of this was just to keep walking at Holly face first. That was it. I mean, where was her little 1-2-1-2 uppercut sidestep? I mean, where was that? Clearly, she's been putting in work in camp. Where I needed more sidesteps from her. Where were the sidesteps? But then here's the crazy part. She gets knocked out by Holly. She takes an entire year off. And you'd think this might be a wake-up call to her. It's like, okay, my pure judo is not enough to win these fights. And my striking, it's not as good as I thought it was. Either I need to get really, really good at striking, or I need to start adding in some other layers to my game. I need to start adding in some other takedowns. That is the only logical thing someone in her position could possibly do. But no. She goes out there against Amanda Nunes, and she makes zero changes to her game. Look, I'm telling you, for how good Amanda Nunes was, she would have had problems dealing with this. I mean, she would have. I swear to God, she would have. And Ronda could have done this. I'm telling you, what she needed was a jab, a double leg, and if that didn't work, clinch up, look for the throw. That's what she needed. But do you know what she did in that camp for Amanda Nunes? Do you know what her and Edmond were working on? It was this.
We're gonna see his wushu because Edmund's a motherfucking ninja and no one knows it.
So now I think you have a good understanding of everything going on with this entire situation. And it's crazy because, like I said, for as much hate as Ronda Rousey gets for how delusional she is, I'm telling you, she could have been the undisputed greatest female fighter ever. I could see her and Amanda Nunes having a real rivalry because if Ronda got you into her positions, you were in trouble. Nobody was as good at arm bars as her. But she wasted her time practicing the sidestep. That was it. The sidestep.